Alright, today we're going to talk real quickly about the Tikka T3 Superlite and specifically the 6.5 Creedmoor. Now you're going to notice right off the bat this is not in the factory stock. I have made some changes to it since getting it, but for the purpose of the review I did go out and shoot it right out of the box without messing with anything. No, not messing with the trigger, nothing. I'll drop some groups in here in a little bit. It did shoot 120, 140, and 147 factory ELDMs right around a ½ inch. It did have some flyers. I didn't take pictures after I remedied it, but the barrel was only free floated down to about this area right here. After I free floated the barrel completely, it took care of those flyers. I'm not going to talk too much about the Tikka T3. It's been around for a while. Most guys know of them or even have personal experience with it. But the Superlite in the factory configuration came in right at 6 pounds 3 ounces. It's got a fluted 24.3 inch barrel on the 6.5 Creedmoor. It's got typical Tikka side bolt release. It's got an adjustable trigger. I think they're one of the better triggers you get in a factory rifle. This one adjusted right down to 2 pounds. I've had some go down closer to 1.5 pounds. It's got a nice magazine setup. It is molded plastic, but I've never had an issue with it. So I think that right out of the brand new when they first came out, I had to pay $750 for this from Sportsman's Warehouse. As far as I know, Sportsman's Warehouse and Cabela's were the only ones carrying the Superlites, or at least in the Creedmoor. But pretty simple. I'll probably have a follow-up video about specifically talking about the mods, but we'll just go real quickly over them. I put the rifle, embedded it into a Stockies stock. I did go ahead and change the short action magazine out for a long action magazine because the bullets couldn't fit in the magazine when they were seated to touch the lands, which happens to be where this rifle liked it as far as when I got into doing load development on it. And to accommodate the longer reloads, I did change this out to a bolt release with the longer bolt stop. Now, real quickly, going over at the factory ammo, I think is what a lot of guys are gonna be interested in. Like I said, it shot those really well. But I found a couple loads with 150 grain Sierra Match Kings and 147 grain Hornady ELDMs with CCI BR2 primers and reloader 26. Now the Sierra Match Kings wouldn't hold up long distance, which is all I really care about. So I settled in on shooting the 147s, and they're maintaining half MOA, out to 900 yards, which is as far as I've shot it.
All right, we're going to talk about the accuracy of the rifle with a couple different loads, both factory and hand loads. Right out of the box, I grabbed some 140 ELDMs I had. Again, I don't intend to shoot factory ammo. Almost always I can do better with hand loads, and it's a lot cheaper, and I don't have to worry about trying to find boxes or keeping a bunch of boxes on hand. But I did have them for past reviews on other rifles and for this one as well. So the 147 ELDMs here shot 3 shots into right at a ½ inch. Now we're going to, I guess, real quick talk about, I'm not going to sit here and do 5-shot strings, 10-shot strings, average over 5-shot groups like you see in other reviews. I don't see any value of it. I understand statistically speaking, the more I shoot it, the more the group's going to open. The intent of this is not to prove that it's a bench rest quality rifle, because it's not. It's just to prove whether or not the gun likes the ammo or not. And in my experience, it's either going to shoot it or not shoot it. And I've done it time and time again with multiple rifles, probably upwards of 50 or 60 rifles, and it's very repetitive. So that's why we've got what I've got. So came over here to the 147 ELDMs. I put these first two in the same hole. Then I had this flyer over here that I called, and then because of that, I went ahead and shot a fourth shot here. Nice little 1/4 inch group here. Just to prove that that was me, I went over here and I shot these first two over here into this little hole here, and then I shot the third one and I had another flyer. That was not me. Seeing that these right here and these two right here are pretty much all in one little 1/4 inch hole, and I've got at least one flyer that I didn't cause, and another one that I believe was me, but who knows, you're starting to see a pattern here. I did start digging, and I found that the fore-end was not fully free-floated, so I don't know if that was intentional on Tikka's part or not, but I did take it out and remedied the issue, the flyer issue. I don't have any pictures of groups with factory ammo after that was fixed. I shot them, made sure it was fixed, and we moved on to load development. So we'll look at those real quick here. All right, I'm not going to go through all the bad loads here. This was during a seating depth test with 150 Sierra Mash Kings and Reloader 26. After doing load development on the 147 ELDMs, I had somewhat of an idea of the powder charge the rifle was going to like. So I just loaded up that powder charge, and we did a bunch of seating depth tests here. It was very clear that it preferred this seating depth test, and shot this nice little .340 group at 100 yards. I gave up quickly on this load because I'd already had a real forgiving load with the 147 ELDMs, and when I took this one out to 700 and 900 yards, it just wouldn't hold up. I shot 5 or 6 different groups at the 2 yardages, and it just wasn't going to hold up for the purposes that I need. So we moved on to the 147 ELDMs, and we'll take a look at those. All right, we'll walk through. I did an optimal charge weight with this one as well. Started with the bullets seated at the lands. We got 46 point grains of Reloader 26 over here. We had a flyer just off the paper. Somehow I messed up and only loaded 2 of the 46.5. Then we moved up here to the 47, 47.5. I should point out that this one was a called flyer on my part. And then we went up to the 48.0. And I'm just going to point out before I switch papers here that if you overlap all of these minus the called flyer, you're going to see a pattern here, and you'll see that continue when we move on to the next paper. Here we continued with 48.5 and then 49.0 grains of Reloader 26. Again, 147 ELDMs, all seated at the lands. And if you'll remember from that previous page, you can back up and pause if you need to. But you can see that they're all pretty much right in a little half MOA group when you overlap all powder charges. Now, this is pretty rare that you have a rifle this forgiving, but this is one of the main downfalls of the optimal charge weight load development method. There are some guns and some bullet combinations that are just so forgiving at 100 yards, you can't really get any good data out of it. So what I had to do was go ahead and take this out and shoot some of these out at 700 and 900 yards. Now, you'll have some people argue that you would just want to take the most accurate, and that is not always the case. And this one did happen to be the most accurate, and when I took it out at 700 and 900 yards, it was also the one that held up long distance. But that is not always the case using the optimal charge weight. Just because it's the most accurate doesn't mean it's going to be the one that'll hold up long range. I'm not going to get in too much deeper into that. I am working on a video about load development in particular, and you can look at that in the future. But this does show that the rifle, right out of the box, well, it shot very well right out of the box. I did have to grind on the stock to make it shoot like it should, or right in the barrel channel. But for those interested in just having this Tikka Superlite right out of the box, having a very accurate rifle for, you know, $750. It's a very good bargain in my opinion. So that concludes the look at the accuracy of the rifle.
So there you have it. If you have any questions specifically about the T3, go ahead and leave those in the comments section. If you have any comments in general, leave those there as well. If you'd like to know more about the mods, go ahead and ask those questions. If I get enough response to that specifically, I might do a specific video on that. Please like the video, subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. Have a good day.